Okay, now it's on.
There we go.
Yippee.
Okay, Ben, any more on the Mill Street?
No, not unless you guys had anything else. I got the pictures and the cost estimate. Or, you know, like I said, there is a chance if it warmed up enough here soon, I know that road's extremely shaded, guy could take the wheel rollers down there and try to roll that material back in, because it is still a little pliable. Should be. But I don't know unless we get a warm enough day if it's going to be really effective, or if it was, how much it would correct the issue.
We're supposed to get some 70s toward the end of the week, I think, but that area there doesn't get much direct sun anyway, so.
Yeah, the next 3 days in the 70s, then it drops to the 50s.
Yeah.
Right. Friday it seemed high at 50.
Yeah.
Problem is the shade in there.
Yeah, it's not gonna get
So much
warm. I
shade,
don't think it'll
right.
get warm enough to do anything.
Looking at it, my guesstimate is it's not going to roll back in, even if it gets warm. It just, I don't know, it just isn't enough. That microseal isn't that thick that there's that much to move.
Yeah.
And the road surface is rough enough, it's not going to move in easily because of the roughness of the surface,
Yeah,
of the asphalt.
I would agree.
But, so I don't know quite where we go from here with it. The gentleman's get in contact with that gentleman and,
Well, I think that's probably a good first step. I think we probably need some advice from Jim as to what our options for recourse actually are, what we can and
Okay.
can't do. But I think we ought to be in contact with them
yeah,
and explain the situation, and that with some communication, we wouldn't have this problem to begin with.
yeah, yeah. I will get with Jim. I will get this to Jim.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll call this gentleman also and not give him the specifics, but
Right,
just
yeah.
get his reasoning
Yeah.
for doing this without getting approval, proper approval, and,
No, particularly when it was suggested to them to reach out to the highway department.
well, and why
and
would you
so
go to the fire department for traffic control? Fire department. I mean, if they have a fire, obviously, they're going
Yeah.
to stop the traffic, but other than that,
Yeah,
that's a sheriff.
that would be the sheriff.
It'd be the sheriff. It's a no-brainer.
That's what she told him. She said, you know.
Yeah,
we
and
don't
she
do
told him that. Her first name was Michaela? What was her first name?
Kayla Fry was hers.
Michaela.
Kayla Fry was,
Kayla.
I've got her contact at the office.
She's the
Do you?
assistant fire chief, isn't she? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, she was real nice about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're good people out there at Spencerville Fire Department.
Yeah.
Good group.
I might get that contact from you and talk to her also.
Yeah, I can give it to you. I'll give it to you when I get back to the office.
Okay. Okay. What you got next, Ben?
Just to let Mike know, I got a note for the 6th meeting at 6:30 with you yet. For St. Joe.
That's,
Good thing I reminded him, huh?
no. I have it on the 10th.
10th Columbus Day.
I don't know, let me get Mary Simcox's email back up here.
I had it on the 6th at 6:30, Thursday.
Yeah, you're probably right, and I probably got fat fingers when I was putting it in my calendar. Let me just double check that. Get my Wi-Fi turned back on here. Yep, you're right. Yeah, 6 o'clock,
6:30.
6:30, yeah, at Town Hall. Yeah,
I'll be there.
so we're going to explain to them why they need to have that little
That rule.
1,700 feet of the county road in their road inventory. I know Ben's very persuasive.
Okay, that'll be good if we can get that done.
Yeah.
Find that paperwork, that transfer paperwork that Jim did and take that with me. The last thing I got for you guys, I sent to you guys an email, and Susan, it's been a few weeks ago, from NERC's, the NERC study I had done for our striping logs. Did you guys get a chance to look through that?
I didn't really.
You did or didn't?
I didn't.
Didn't? Okay.
Well, the information you give me, I pretty much tells me what I need to know on it. You know, I didn't want to.
Right. I can go into it with you a little bit, or if you guys are,
Give us the highlights.
okay, so what I did, I contacted NERC. I'm trying to remember when, it's been over at least a year ago. Because we have striping logs on a lot of our county roads. But if you follow the MUTCD, which we have adopted that as our manual to follow, the county's adopted that policy. And that specifies in there on the roads that we stripe and don't stripe. And the biggest number of that is the roads has to have 3,000 cars per day on it. A lot of our roads we're striping does not have that. It also goes down to your road widths. And it also goes down to your major, minor arterial collectors, ones that have to be striped, and ones that don't. So the prior commissioners wanted me to stripe nearly all paved roads, which I was a little bit hesitant about because the cost of it. And, also the widths of the road and the traffic counts. Some roads, it really just didn't make sense to do it. So then with doing that, unless we stripe them double yellow, I'd have to get more striping logs and then keep them updated. I try to do them about every 10 years because things change. So I just had a bunch updated, and I was getting questioned from the sheriff about an accident that happened up on County Road 23. There's a pedestrian walking along the edge of the roadway, got hit, struck, and killed, and we didn't have that road striped. He was on me why I didn't have that striped. I said, well, don't call for it. We didn't stripe it. Well, anyway, long story short, I decided I wanted to come up with a plan to have studied. I contacted NERC. This is the first one that they ever done, and we both learned a lot through it. If we went through, followed Indiana MUTCD, we would have hardly any roads that qualify to be striped, besides our major arterials like 427, 327, roads like that. So we actually did an engineering assessment per the roads that we had. They're currently striping and what the MUTCD recommended. We come up with a number of 2,500 cars per day. We based that off of. So that got a little bit more of our roadway network currently striped back into the plan. And then we done an assessment for 35 south, same way with 39 north, and we even had to do one on 40A to get that continually striped. In the back of there's those are the roads that are going to be striped. You can see how minimal there are.
Yeah.
So with that, this is going to help us on a legal standpoint, knowing that we had the county evaluated. We're going to do this with our annual, or not annual. Right now, NERC counts our roads every 3 years. So then we can go through and reevaluate our stripings at that point. So if we get a road that all of a sudden it's not being striped, the numbers come up to 2,500 or higher, we can look into that as having it striped. So this will be reevaluated back on approximately every 3 years. But this is something, we do get tort claims. We have gotten tort claims. And now we'll have something else to fall back on is why we're striping what we're striping. The reason I wanted to do that is because the roads that we was striping, let's just say we stripe County Road 47, then there's an accident on County Road 39. Well, there's no stripings on 39, but there was on 47. Why didn't you stripe that? You know, I really didn't have, we just never have. Or we, you know, I don't have logs on that. Well, it really kind of puts us at a liability standpoint at that point in time. So I wanted to come up with this, to have something, have it adopted by the body, and this is what we're going to follow moving forward. The downside of it is there's some roads that are currently striped that we're no longer going to stripe. We're just going to let them markings fade out and won't be replenished. One of them's 27 north of 6. We just paved that 2 years ago. That's got yellow lines and white lines on it now that won't be striped no more according to this new policy.
You can take the big eraser out and
I know it.
get rid of those.
I know it. It will wear off,
Yeah.
but they don't come off real well.
No, it'll be years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or until we chip seal it or something,
Yeah.
cover it up.
Yeah.
You know, so I wanted to get this out to you guys because a lot of the roads that we did chip seal this summer was ones that was striped and not getting striped back. So that way if questions come in why we didn't stripe it, I wanted you guys to know, and hopefully you guys would see this and understand the needing to adopt it just on a liability standpoint for the county, and then knowing that we did have an engineer assessment on our roads. We are now striping per the MUTCD standards and engineering assessment judgment.
I think that consistency is important.
I agree. So I did bring a copy up, hard copy. You guys need this one, I can leave it with you. Or if you need it for your motion or whatever. NERC's been great to work with. You know, they do all of our cache data studies, our intersection studies. And like I said, we worked on that quite extensively. They put together a pretty nice little packet for us. But so far this year, all I striped was what we have on there.
It is on. I didn't know if we wanted to table this till Todd's back.
Yeah, why don't we? I think it's a good idea. But let's wait and get Todd in on the discussion.
Yeah, let's get Todd in on it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And,
He should have it, like I said, I emailed it to all you guys.
Yeah,
I did
got
send
it.
that off to McKenna and let him look through it.
Any
You
comment?
know, it looks fine. He said, actually, he said, look, NERC's history and their engineer judgment, he said, I can't really go against it. He says it's going to be beneficial for the county to have.
There's some roads that I found surprising. One was 27 north of 6
Yeah.
to Ashley.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been
Oh,
higher count.
I come by there today, there was 8 cars lined up on 27 to get across 6. Of course, it's hard to get across there.
You know, 2,500 cars is quite a bit of cars a
That's,
day.
yeah.
That's
a lot.
That's a pretty good
More
number.
than I think.
You know, MUTCD calls for 3,000, and we already bumped that down to 25. And the thing was, how much do we amend it to go back? Well, we made the engineering judgment for what we've already been doing. You know,
Is that how you come up to 25?
trying to incorporate some, because like I said, we was gonna lose 48 and all that. And I kind of argued that one a little bit, because it goes out to a big industrial complex, and then 48 turns into State Road 249 in Ohio.
Right,
You know, I just,
right.
so, I mean, we worked on it back and forth quite a little bit, and my assistant Mark reviewed it, was in on the meetings with us, so.
Okay, let's do that. We'll table it to next week and
Okay.
get
Works
right
for me.
into it then.
You got any contact or comments or anything on the traffic impact study that the sports group is doing?
Yeah, there's been quite a few emails back and forth on that, between me and FCI and then Obachi. and NERC,
Yeah,
and then NDOT. There's been a lot of discussion back and forth about the through traffic and then the routes that will be taken. And I think we've got all that narrowed down, so should be wrapping up that traffic study as we speak. I think it's going to be interesting.
This was
no
for,
comment.
This is for the sports complex.
yeah,
That was that one of the requirements that we
Right.
made,
right,
that we had to have that before they could do anything.
yeah.
Like I said, I'm really leaning on Jeff at NERC with that.
Yeah.
He's really worked diligently on it. We've talked each time we've got an email, and then he's incorporated my response and his comments back, and
Good.
this one's a different animal right there as far as there's really nothing to go off of. So it's everybody's opinion or guess.
Yeah.
Well, you know how opinions are.
Well, and the one thing about that, it's kind of ironic. I mean, they give us these fluffy numbers of how great this is going to be, and yet those higher numbers are going to negatively affect the traffic
The
study.
traffic study, sure.
So, you know, it's kind of shoot themselves in the foot maybe on that traffic study with these predictions of
Yeah.
high numbers coming and going. And
Numbers are pretty high.
yeah,
Counts are pretty high what they're
pretty
showing.
high. So, you know, it's like
Well,
There's a
yeah,
lot of traffic out there.
one of those be careful what you wish for maybe type of deals. But anyway,
I think, yeah, that's very well said, Bill.
It's going to be, like I said, it's interesting to see where it goes, because right now I can see a lot of possibly potential improvements will have to be made for the amount of traffic numbers. But we'll see what they come up with. It's just all, back and forth. There's nothing complete yet, so.
any conversation with SDI and what County Road 44, anything going on there that,
I've called and left him a voicemail, and he's never called me back.
never did?
Didn't keep trying. I can, but I had other things to do, and
I still want to get out there and just have a little drive around, look around, maybe stop and see Mr. Keller, see what he has to say at this point, and check out the dust situation, because a lot of that could be coming from SDI.
Could be.
That's what
44 has been treated solid for several years. As the summer goes on, it's going to get a little dry, and it is going to get a little dusty, but that road will never be as dusty as an untreated gravel road.
right, right.
Typically, the dust stays low.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of hype there in the comments that were made. Exaggerations, I'm afraid. But anyway, anything else?
St. Joe is the 10th,
It is the 10th?
is the 10th.
Well.
Our meeting is the second Monday of the month, which is October 10th. We meet at 6:30, 204 Washington Street.
Okay.
The 10th?
No, I can do that.
Okey dokey.
Good thing you've seen that.
Were those stake holes in that street addressed? Did we do anything with those? Fix them?
They, the tent company fixed them.
Did they?
It looks okay.
Okay.
I mean, I can see where they was, but it's not horrible.
Yeah. I mean, that's obvious. You're going to see. There's no way to. You would do it, not see where they were at. As long as there's not a divot there and something, water to set in or the water to get down through underneath the road.
Not last time I was down there. They've sealed up pretty decent.
Pretty
Just
decent.
I do know that Mary talked to the people who gave the okay to do that and raised a little hell about it. So,
Oh,
yeah, hopefully they'll take the road over and it'll be theirs.
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
yeah, that's just such a
No-brainer.
short stretch and dead ends.
I mean, we
Doesn't make
get
any-
into their road and all their roads tie into it.
Yeah.
There's no spot for us to turn around without driving through their town.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. So,
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have for you guys today.
Anything for Ben? Anything further?
No, I've already
Kind of went through your list.
gone through my Ben list here.
I guess I have two with road damage and everything else. I think we're good.
Okay.
We are done. Okay. Anything as far as commissioners?
No, nothing else for us. I did want to just in kind of conjunction with your question though, on the solar, because there is a substantial amount of misinformation floating around. There has not been a complete development plan submitted to the county by any solar company at this point. There is an incomplete plan that's in the process of being submitted, but we don't have all of the information yet for anybody to consider. So that'll all be brought out as that information hits, but none, we have to have a completed development plan before we can do anything as far as the plan commission goes. And if you happen to be an adjacent or adjoining property owner, when that does go to plan commission for a public hearing, you will get certified mail notification so that you can attend. Otherwise, those meetings are, if you're not an adjacent property owner, those meetings are all advertised in the newspaper. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like I said, there's a considerable amount of information floating around that isn't accurate, and so I'm kind of trying to correct some of that as I have the opportunity. So, sure.
There's a lot to consider and to digest when it comes to solar, and the pros and the cons, and like Mike says, a lot of information floating around on the internet, and you name it. So it's going to take some time, and I don't know if it's probably going to be maybe after first year before it even gets to the public meeting, but we'll see.
I'm sure.
For sure, yeah. So we're ways off. I've gotten comments from people that think, well, this is a done deal. And it's not even a started deal yet. It's just very infant stages yet, but we want to have it all together and our ducks in a row, pros or cons, before we take this to public meeting.
Yeah.
Because we got to do what's best for the majority, hopefully. And anyway, you're welcome. Well, if we have nothing else, then I'm going to adjourn this meeting. DeKalb County Commissioners.
Okie dokie.
Okay.